Hi, it's me, Dr. KT, and welcome to ODDDUCKSCIENCE. Today, I want to talk about the Hantavirus. It's on every news channel, Google search, and social media feed. Now, what I've noticed is that there is a lot of information out there, and I'm starting to see some misinformation as well. And it's all in the mix. And so I decided, hey, let's break it down so we know what is the truth, what is lies, flat out lies. So let's get into it. What we know, the hantavirus is not a new creation that was made in the lab. I know you've seen some posts that may have said otherwise, but the first outbreak was during the Korean War in the 1950s. And the first cases in the US occurred in 1993. Now that we've cleared that rumor up, let's talk about the types of the hantavirus illnesses. Now, they can be broken into 3 different categories. Think about it as Nike being a brand, and then you have a pair of Air Max 95s, Huaraches, my favorite, and some Vapor Maxes. They're still all Nike, same brand, but they look and feel different and present different. Same thing with these viruses. So for the hantavirus, the first illness is HPS, which is hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, which looks like the flu, but eventually progresses into acute respiratory failure and death. And this is carried by deer mice. The second illness you may have heard of, HFRS, which is hemorrhagic fever with renal syndrome. So that means you have a really high fever and your organs are bleeding out pretty much in every orifice. Think of the movie Outbreak. And that's carried by rodents. Now, the third one, which we're seeing right now, is called the Andes virus, which is similar to HPS, but causes human-to-human spreading. So probably you're saying, oh God, how is this not bad? And how is this not about to put us back into quarantine? Well, this starts to look similar to COVID, but it's not highly contagious like COVID was. There is a long incubation period. It means it stays in you for quite some time, typically about 2 to 4 weeks before you're ever contagious, with a median of about 18 days, especially with this Andes virus that we're seeing that was caused on a ship. Now, one thing that it requires to be infectious, you have to be in prolonged close contact with someone who is symptomatic, like sharing a cabin, sharing food, caregiving, hours of physical proximity. Whereas with COVID, you could sneeze and be in front of people for a short period of time and it was contagious. This is not the case with the Andes virus of the hantavirus. Now, this does make sense how this was transmitted in this cruise because it was a very small cruise, about 159 people, and their living quarters were very tight compared to the large cruises that you go on and all the amenities are there on the boat. These you get off for exploration. Now, currently, the CDC has issued a level 3 emergency response, which is the lowest level. This isn't to say that hantavirus is mild. It is a serious illness with a high case fatality rate, which means people die. Now, let's talk about prevention and address some questions. Do we have to mask up again? Only if you're dealing with rodent urine, poop, rodent nesting. And second question, are we quarantining? Are we going to get locked up again? No, unless you were on the boat or had contact with someone on the boat. And please, wash your hands. Wash your hands. So simple, so effective. Now let's talk about treatment. There's no cure for the hantavirus. I've seen people talking about ivermectin, which is that drug that people tried to use during COVID. And let me say this again. Ivermectin is a drug that is for anti-parasites. So it's for parasites. So it's an anti-parasitic drug. The hantavirus is a virus, not a parasite. So only antivirals can treat a virus. I know that was a lot of information, but let's clear up more and get into the 3 Ds. So the first D, decode. What's the science? A rare virus, not a new virus, has showed up on a cruise ship that has caused a fatality and caused quarantine for others. It will not spread like COVID because it is structurally different and it doesn't even transmit the same way. The second D, diversify. How does this affect me and how does this affect my community? All of this panicking is a result of how we vote or don't vote. Hear me well. We as the American people have lost trust in our government with this current administration because the way they have gutted the CDC, the NIH, and other scientists who were working and publishing the data that kept us informed about outbreaks, about viruses, about contagions, about different things that was happening. And the reason I started Odd Duck Science is because I got so frustrated of all of the resources being eliminated, of all these scientific positions being eliminated, when these people were the very ones that were informing us of what was going on and how to keep our community safe. So that's how it affected me personally. And you're starting to see how it's affecting you as the way this is being handled. The third D, how do I put my own dazzle on this? Very simple. We have to have conversations like you and I are having right now, because all this panicking leads to harmful information and it ends up harming our community. Well, I hope you learned something today and that you realize you don't have to put a mask on if you don't want to. So it's officially mask off. But I hope you have a glorious day. Until next time.